I'm gonna go get cranberry juice.
It's a natural diuretic. My girlfriend drinks it when she's got her period. What, do you get your period?
I'm Joe.
I'm Josh.
You've got questions?
Yo, feeling grounded.
Welcome to Feeling Grounded with your hosts, Josh and Joe.
So what we want you all to do right now is subscribe to Feeling Grounded Podcast, like this video, continue to follow us on Instagram at Feeling Grounded Podcast, or follow us on whichever medium that you are listening on, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Also, we want you to share this to any person that you think might enjoy this content, and become a patron. On Patreon for $3 a month, you guys will be able to see exclusive content that Josh and I genuinely enjoy. We'd love to put out there for you guys. On Instagram, also, the link in our bio, it shows every single medium that we have to share for content. Anything else, Josh?
Leave a comment. You dig us?
Leave a comment and a question. We appreciate you guys, and you've got questions?
You're feeling grounded.
Entertainment. Where's the entertainment, guys?
The Departed. It's been about 15 years since this has been in theaters. We did this as a timeline of a little while ago.
That's right.
But it came out in 2006, and it holds a special place in my heart. You know, it's a very dense film. It's more than the sum of its parts, right?
Definitely. Yeah, I love this movie. I mean, some of the best actors, some of the best direction. I love it. I love whenever there's something like this where it's kind of like cultural divisions and like crazy stuff that happens that you don't realize happens, and then you're like, see, like I love it.
Well, speaks more to the cultural division. Why does that appeal?
I don't know, man. It's just crazy. It's like the perfect conflict, you know, what they're doing. And then, well, I guess maybe we can like let's explain without giving too much, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So essentially, it follows three men who are essentially deceitful at heart, in a sense. You know, you got Leonardo DiCaprio's Billy Costigan. I'll go more into that. You got Colin Sullivan, who's played by Matt Damon, and you got Frank Costello, played by the great Jack Nicholson. All legacy actors, even right now. Plus, you also have others such as Mark Wahlberg, Alec Baldwin, Martin Sheen. And essentially this takes place in Boston, a lot of it in South Boston, you know, very primal animalistic territory. But Billy Costigan is essentially a rat inside of basically Frank Costello's crime organization in Boston, but he's actually a undercover cop. Now, on the opposite end of the spectrum, you've got Matt Damon, who has been with Frank Costello all of his life, ever since he lost his father. And essentially, he's a rat on the other side. He's inside of the Special Investigations Unit of the Boston Police Department.
Yeah, it's crazy. Just that premise alone is awesome. Like, I think
Yes.
that's so cool to see the parallels between the two.
The influence came from an Asian film called Infernal Affairs. Same basic plot as The Departed. I think they took some liberties. However, Martin Scorsese used that as influence for his film. I recommend also for people listening or watching Infernal Affairs, do it up. A lot of themes going on in this movie. Some standouts. I think particularly with masculinity as a theme, which I'll go more into, and also the concept of being deceitful and pretending to be something that you're not.
Like betrayal.
Yeah.
It's huge, you know,
Mhm.
deceit. Yeah, definitely.
I'll go more into masculinity first, because that's something that's not exactly on the surface. It's a big theme because in the wake of dealing with other characters, everyone seems to be, you know, dealing with death or deceitfulness of another person. So no, Leo, he's this double kid all of his life, he grew up upper class. He wants to embrace his father's lower class life. So that's what makes him have like different accents when, like he was explaining when he was younger. Colin Sullivan, Matt Damon, he wants to be this rich, self-made dude and forget his horrible actions in the past, Understandable, because he was babied by Frank, which leads me to Frank Costello. He wants this cool legacy, which for all intents and purposes he kind of does have, but still wants more of that power, and even with that status and power, all these men want what they feel is like the ideal masculine man,
Yeah, it's all power, control, justice, like, it's self-seeking, like all of it is, wealth and everything. That's all kind of encompassed within this, which oftentimes you can see the good and the bad sense of masculinity in both regards.
Yeah, really, it does show. Like, we've got like our good and bad characters. We've got the good really in Leo, even though he has to be deceitful in order to survive. Martin Sheen and to ascend. Those are the good characters. And then you have the bad ones such as Sullivan and Costello.
Yeah, exactly.
But as far as his deceitful life, he's just a product of his environment. But it's a really great line, actually, at the very beginning. Costello says, I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want my environment to be a product of me. Leo chose that South Boston life. And what I've read about South Boston is that it's primal, it's animalistic, dog eat dog. You knock others down. All these men insult other men's manhood. What do you got, your period? Rings true for this concept of manhood. You remember how Colin and Madeline, his girlfriend, were having this awkward conversation. I think they had sex the night before, and Madeline's like, it happens to lots of guys. He views himself as like this impotent. He's impotent.
He's impotent, less of a man. Yeah. That concept of like where it can be rough on a man while also being a good sense of seeking justice and
exactly. And he tries to cover it up. Alec Baldwin's just like, yeah, and you better be working or something like that. And he's like, yeah, it's working overtime.
Exactly.
And I never caught that for the longest time because it's all like in his conversations with the people he knows supposedly best, or maybe he's just pretending to, because he's even pretending with his girlfriend too. Frank, what's he pretending to do? Well, he does think he compares himself to John Lennon. He probably thinks of himself as like an artist, but he doesn't really show it too often. He's always got a woman right next to him. Remember that like scene at like the opera or the brothel? I don't know. He's actually got like a woman by his side and another woman too, like his supposed girlfriend. But he's impotent too. He can't have a son.
Right. Yeah, that's very
so
true.
It's so funny, Colin Sullivan, he's supposedly going to have a son with Madeline, even though it's Billy Costigan's kid. So it's Billy's getting the son. Martin Sheen, he's a good father. He's got the son. Colin's not getting the son. And Frank can't have a son. He can't like have his legacy, He can't have a son to take his kingdom.
Yeah. How about that?
Yeah.
So there's that kind of essence of like fate affecting, the oh gosh, I just blanked. You know what I'm saying? Like fate is like having such a big impact on like, oh, like this is a bad guy, so therefore like, oh, look at this.
Yeah, it's almost getting like poetic justice, like
exactly.
Yes,
like just desserts, whatever,
Yeah. Do you notice like anything about fatherhood in this movie too? I know we just talked about the sons and stuff like that, but
well, it's definitely it's apparent in this movie. I mean, it may not always be for the best, but I feel like there are a lot of like father figures that take people out. I mean, between Leo and Matt Damon's character, I mean, yeah, definitely. You can see that between Jack Nicholson as like this paterfamilias type, that, like all come under my wings, like, and I will.
The only underlying person that doesn't really fit the bill for any of this is Mark Wahlberg's Dignam, because Dignam's freaking awesome.
The best.
But he's not totally the deceptive character at all.
He's the
all-
Rock, man. He's the
all this
Rock.
all this pretending and deception, it could be dangerous to a person. It's a really great life lesson that each character seems to lose something as a result of it.
Right.
Whether it be their life or manhood or a woman, maybe all three.
Mhm.
Not Dignam, because Dignam's awesome.
He's awesome.
Did you know that they were planning on doing a Departed 2
Really?
with Matt Damon? With
Mark
Dignam,
Wahlberg?
Mark Wahlberg. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of sequels, especially movies like this, but that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
To see how that
Entertain the idea, at least maybe like a comic.
goes. Yeah. But yeah, and of course the crazy twist in it is insane.
Mhm.
And then the ending with Justice kind of pulling through, since Dignam is the Rock.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Because you don't think that that's going to happen. You completely forget
at all.
about him because of his leave of absence.
Yep. And then he comes to be just.
Yeah. After this is something I researched this before talking to you, just because I like looking at this. It's something that lies completely under our noses, but every time a character that is most likely going to die, in a lot of the scenes with them, there's an X in the background, like an X on the window or an X.
Wow.
Actually, for a certain older character that dies, there are a bunch of X's on the windows.
Wow.
Check it back again. Even on the ceiling tiles, you see that. I think either
I
that.
love that.
Yeah.
Whenever you can analyze a movie to the point where there's so the smallest detail. I love that. And that's the thing that's amazing about Martin Scorsese is his attention to detail. His art form is incredible. I mean, you can dissect every scene of every movie, and there's so much there.
The future is inevitable, but let's travel back in time.
October 20th, 2011. So the Libyan ex-leader, Moammar Gaddafi, he was killed at the age of 69. So he was the leader for about 42 years in Libya, and he was killed in his hometown after being thrown out of power. To give you a little bit of backstory, there have been about months of infighting in Libya between pro and anti-Gaddafi rebels. And there was an effort to remove Gaddafi, which was aided by NATO. That's basically one of the big reasons why it was so successful. There was a NATO bombing campaign. Gaddafi, he came to power in 1969. It was a coup that had overthrown this pro-Western monarch. His name was King Idris, and basically King Idris was on vacation. He just kind of swooped right in. But he killed all these dissenters, took control of the nation's oil industry because Libya, and he funded a bunch of terrorist groups throughout his reign. But in 2011, when this insurrection happened, they used the model of Egypt and Tunisia, which happened months before. If we all know about that, they had revolts too earlier in 2011. But rebel forces, they gained control of Tripoli, and they established some type of transitional government. Moammar Gaddafi, he was hiding, but he eventually got shot. And we're even right now in the last decade, because this is 10 years ago, it's been just a decade of division and infighting. And if you look at the really crappy footage of the assassination and him being all bloodied up, people aren't really able to pinpoint if it was an execution or not. People are, I myself have seen a little bit. I'm leaning towards it was an execution kind of, but people also say that it was just for that to happen.
I see.
Based on his history.
October 20th, 1975, the Supreme Court ruled that teachers could hit/spank their pupils after a warning.
What year is this?
1975, which surprised me. I would have thought it was much, older.
Yeah, you had so much cultural upheaval in the 1960s That
you think that would have been out, you know,
right,
gone by
right.
now. But yeah, in 75, I guess there was enough qualm, you know, somebody was suing somebody that got, you know, went up the whatever ladder to the Supreme Court. Which then they were like, yeah, no, it's okay. It's fine. If a teacher wants to spank your kids, that's fine. It's their own dang fault. And now our culture's like, nah, bro. Nah. And I feel that. Because, you know, generally I feel like physical abuse on children is probably not a good thing.
is the
It's
that's
not
the
a good thing.
yeah, that's the gold mine of cancel.
Exactly. So I'm glad we learned from that. And that's one thing I'm happy that our culture has fixed.
It's time for Happy Crappy.
How you doing, Joe?
I'm tired, man. I'm winded.
Yeah,
We're filming like around like 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah. After a day.
It has been a day,
Mhm.
and it was filled with things and events.
I feel that completely. I was gonna burp into it, but I decided I shouldn't.
Every time, like could you imagine like people's car speakers like to get blasted because you
stereo, like bass boosted stereo Josh burp.
people are walking down the street and all they hear is like this ginormous like distorted burp. Yeah.
I was thinking of the one from Toy Story 2 when Woody's trying to get the remote, or not the remote. He's trying to get his arm, and then somebody steps on the remote, and then but before that you hear the brand, I forget his name.
Al's Toy Barn.
Yeah, his burp just like as it rolls up.
Oh man, I definitely think that one is just as good, if not better, than
yeah.
number one.
I love the second one. I
Three is-
remember watching it once when my grandparents came over to my house, my childhood home, and I remember having two soft pretzels, like the gosh, what's the brand? I can't think of it. It's like a black box with like blue. I just got the picture.
All I know is Aunties.
Yeah, it's not any hands. It's, I forget what it is, but that's my memory of that, is having two soft pretzels.
Toy Story 3, definitely fantastic.
Oh,
Four.
No, I haven't watched it, and I will
Forget about it.
never
Forget
watch
about it. Yeah.
I will say, I heard, well, the Forky or whatever is like a dumb character, but like they have these shorts on Disney Plus that Eli loves. Well, like I like them too because I think they're hilarious. But it's called Forky Ask a Question, and it's like, what is love? Or like, what is cheese? Or
we should invite him on the show. Yeah. He's the most grounded of all.
There you go. In the intro, it's like,
Forky ask a question.
and I like it. I think it's funny.
But avoid that movie at all cost.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's just 100% cash grab, and that's just a shame because it like ruins everything.
You also don't really see the characters that made Toy Story for very long. Jesse is barely in it.
Because they're all old and like dead.
A lot of them are the same, like, but you don't have the guy who played Mr. Potato Head.
Don Rickles, right?
Mm.
He died. He was a crazy comedian.
Yeah, Don Rickles.
He was like a very, it's like insult comedy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you call it if it's like a genre, but
Raunchy.
He's just like mean to people, and then everyone laughs. Like,
but comedy, it's supposed to teeter on the line of like, not supposed to say, but I get it.
Yeah. I mean,
I just recently finished watching the Dave Chappelle.
Oh, did you watch it?
Yes, the closer.
Yeah,
I fell asleep a couple minutes before the end just because
you always fall asleep during
because the only time I have time to watch it is like at 9:30 at night, and I'm like,
I love it, Joe. And every movie we say like, yeah, I fell asleep.
It's great. They are great.
Yeah, I agree. It was great. No, I feel you. I do that too. I usually fall asleep on the couch.
Let's do crappy first.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. So I had workouts and long days, but I really had time to play guitar. this week. I played a little bit last night for 10, 20 minutes, and that was enough for the fix. I'll play a little bit tonight. It's just been very, very tough because I've gone off to like go see other people with church, and that's fine. That was great. It's been tough with balance.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah. I'd say the same, like just balance in my life. This week, I had a lot more like early work.
Mhm.
I've been going in about like an hour earlier than I usually do.
The polo is a great look for you, Josh. You look like an
Thank you.
absolute Chad.
Giga Chad. Some of my routines kind of been kicked because what I've been doing is I've been wanting to work in my spirituality, my spiritual wellness, my physical health. So I've been getting into the routine of waking up, a little prayer time, a little coffee time, a little breakfast with the family, get around for work, leave for work, go to church, go to daily mass, and then after go to the gym, and then I will work until late, and doing whatever I have to do, prepping stuff, whatever, then come home, take care of the kids, and have dinner and chill with the wifey, which is a great routine, and I was really liking it. But now it kind of this week it just went out the window because I had to go into work like earlier to teach at the school. Not really teach at the school, but just to be at the school. And so I just kind of got, it's like funny. Like every time I fall into like a routine that's like, yeah, like this is good. I'm liking this. I'm vibing. I'm happy. Life is good. And then I get like knocked in the face and it all falls apart.
There's something that needs to, change. Maybe that's we can't exactly pinpoint it yet.
Right. Yeah. Future, who knows? But yeah, well, that's the other crappy, but I mean again, yeah, so that's probably it, just the loss of my routine.
I got you. Happy. So I'm going to travel to a funeral. I know that's part of another crappy. But for the last month and a half, I had to hand in a guitar to get some stuff repaired, get a refret and a general setup, which I'm really excited about because I'm going to go pick it up on the way to the funeral tomorrow. It's not a Gibson Les Paul, though it is a mid-70s Hohner Les Paul. I think I remember showing it to you, but this thing has not been set up / refretted, I believe, since those mid-70s. Wow. And this is it's going to be a game changer because I've had it since about 2009 and it was great then, but after its use, like it was time. So I'm really excited to just, because I've been playing Telly and Strat for the last like 3 months, and my natural inclination, I'm a humbucker guy. I need to get back to that, and that's something I need my fix.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel you. Yeah, it's a beautiful guitar. I remember playing it when we were doing Chair Table. I think you brought it. We were playing. This being ridiculous.
I can't wait for Zach to be on here. Shout out to Chair Table, Zach. That was our band name for people that know. And we did one single, about 7 minutes long, called Starbucks.
Oh, that's right.
It was in the wake of the controversy of just having the red cups in 2015.
So long ago. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. It's on Facebook somewhere.
Yes,
right?
it is. Yes, it is.
You have to send it to me. You have to find it and email the link or something. I would love to watch that again.
Oh no, we're gonna do a deep dive react, you, me, and Zach.
There we go. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That was a memory for the ages, and we will have everybody else share it with us.
Love it. So
but I forgot that you had played it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love me some humbuckers. I'm a big fan. And I love single because I'm a big bluesy dude. I love the sound of that, but there's something about a humbucker. I just love the clarity and the sustain and the also the drivenness. So like it swings both directions for me. Yeah. It was like a warmth, I guess you should say.
There's a different thing that you need depending on the day.
Yeah.
Different phase that you have.
It's funny too. Like I never realized how different every guitar is. Like until I started owning more guitars.
Yes.
And I was like so impressed with like that concept of like, so I'll be like, especially me now, like recording and like working on music and stuff. Like I know what guitar to use for that song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I have like a 1950s Stratocaster.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a PRS now. So I used to have Les Paul, but I traded it in.
And you can end up surprising yourself. Sometimes like the one that you would least go to for that particular instance might actually surprise you.
That's true. Yeah.
You just surprise yourself the more you do it.
Yeah, exactly. But I need to fill it out. I do want to tell you at some point. That's like the one thing on my list that I want to have.
That's all reliable. I agree.
All right. My happy. I've just been having some nice chats with wifey. He was talking about future and diving in the heart a bit, which is always good. It's always healing. You can have great combos with the spouse.
Those great conversations must really, really, really refreshing and kind of livens you up.
Yeah, it really is. It's so great.
So what we want you all to do right now is subscribe to Feeling Grounded Podcast, like this video, continue to follow us on Instagram at Feeling Grounded Podcast, or follow us on whichever medium that you are listening on, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Also, we want you to share this to any person that you think might enjoy this content, and become a patron. On Patreon for $3 a month, you guys will be able to see exclusive content that Josh and I genuinely enjoy. We'd love to put out there for you guys. On Instagram, also, the link in our bio, it shows every single medium that we have to share for content. Anything else, Josh?
Leave a comment, you dingus.
Leave a comment and a question. We appreciate you guys, and you've got questions.
You're feeling grounded.